Andrew Cuomo, Ted Cruz, and Joe Biden have in common? If you answered they're all politicians, you'd be right. However, all three men have also lost the public's trust and faith in them as leaders because of their inappropriate behavior. How does this happen and why? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I'm Darryl Armstrong, and this is Podcast 360. As recently as January this year, Governor Andrew Cuomo was a renowned crisis manager and a media darling. Hey, the guy had written a book on leadership during the middle of a pandemic, go figure. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that Andrew did little of that writing. But now, less than 90 days later, he's fighting to survive in the court of public opinion. And I predict soon, maybe in the court of law, unless he forks over some money to those he has aggrieved. Hiding data on his nursing home scandal and the 15,000 deaths caused by his policies is horrible enough in itself. And you would think that the media would be all over that investigation. However, sex trumps death in the mainstream media. The senseless and tragic deaths and the FBI investigation into them are now second in interest to the New York Attorney General's investigation into Cuomo's #MeToo scandal. 7 women allege inappropriate sexual advances and behavior by the once prominent Democrat who wanted to run for a 4th term as governor. Cuomo and his brother at CNN yucked it up while our elders died on his watch. And Chris, a word to the want to be a reporter. Journalism 101 tells us that no reporter should ever interview a family member. Did you skip that class? Of course, many of us don't believe that Chris Cuomo is anything other than a hack opinion reader of a teleprompter, an off-the-cuff political commentator, and that is my opinion. Andrew Cuomo creates his crisis through inappropriate behaviors. But let us be fair and balanced here. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, the senior senator from Texas and a Republican, didn't demonstrate much good thinking or appropriate behavior, as we say here in the South, when he packed bags to take his daughter to Cancun during Texas' energy and weather crisis. You can bet a barbecue sandwich at the Salt Lick that his next opponent will run the video of him walking the aisle to the plane, pulling his roller bag behind him. Campaign poster headlines will read and video voice-overs will say, "Is this the type of leadership you expect from elected officials during a crisis?" And to make matters worse, members of his DC staff lied about the trip. Although Cruz returned promptly once called to try and smooth over the controversy, his inappropriate behavior is unacceptable, and he got caught. How couldn't you get caught with such behavior? As one of my colleagues once said, don't do anything if you're a public official unless you want to see headlines and commentators that take you to the task. Then you have the newly elected Democrat President, Joe Biden, who calls for unity while claiming that the flood of immigrants crossing the border is nothing more than a challenging situation. Interesting, because when he was vice president under President Obama, their director of Homeland Security called 1,000 immigrants a day a crisis when they attempted to cross the border. Well, with many times that number being pushed across by cartels now to overwhelm the system, the president and his men and press secretary, well, they see it only as a challenge. By the way, the media understands the importance of words and perception, and you should as well. Remember that under President Trump, children were being held in cages. Well, those are the same cages that President Obama and Vice President Biden built and are now being used once again, but this time as reception centers. Lo, the poor press secretary who has to PR this situation and all these others, and then circle back on their answers. I genuinely feel sorry for them. All behavior has consequences. All three men created their own crises. Openness and transparency during a crisis are essential. All three men and their PR spokespeople fail in being direct, open, transparent, and forthright about the situation. I'm Darryl Armstrong, and that's my 360 for the day.